And we are back on Radio 2BACR. John McCubbin, how are you, mate?
Very well, thank you, Paul. And yourself?
Good, mate. Thank you so much for coming on the show this morning.
It's a pleasure, mate. It's a privilege.
Mate, it's a privilege to have you on. When I announce it on Facebook, I know you're not the Facebook type. I could tell that, mate, when I was talking to you the other day. Geez, a lot of messages there, mate, from people. I'll read a couple out later. Geez, you're a popular boy back in the day, and you still are, I take it.
Oh, I don't know about that, mate. Yeah, but it was all good fun. It was all good fun.
Yeah. Mate, let's fire away. What got you in the box and all them years ago?
Oh, I didn't play football, and I was a swimmer more than anything.
Yeah.
And I was getting up there, and I was 6'4", and I was 10.5 stone, sort of thing. And I didn't know what to do with myself, but I went to a gym with a couple of mates one night, and that was it.
So you got in. You had no amateurs?
No amateur fights. No. Old Ray, the old trainer, Ray Horwood, brilliant man. He didn't like the amateurs too much.
A lot of trainers don't, you know.
Especially them days, and I just started work, sort of thing, and he said, well, you might as well earn some money, son. And I said, well, Ray, I'm in your hands, which was true. And we went down to Festival Hall one night, and I had the socks and the shorts and all that, and away we went. Yeah, geez, you got to be pretty tough to go straight into the pros, mate, and forget about the amateurs. I think you got to be silly.
It's good to have a little apprenticeship in the amateurs, but you know, like yourself, it didn't matter, mate. You just, as your trainer said, let's not waste any time and jump in there.
We were sparring all the amateurs around the place, you know, like when we were training.
Yeah.
And we'll go to different gyms. Leo Coles was big down in Collingwood at the time. We'll go to there Sunday mornings. So you're sparring all them blokes, and they're the blokes you're going to fight. And Ray must have seen the potential there and said, well, we'll go straight to the pros.
Yeah, you keep your big long left jab out throughout your whole career, mate? Keep them on the end of that?
Well, I was a southpaw.
Yeah? Oh, sorry.
And that's all right. That buggered them up even more.
Oh, God, I'd hate to fight you, John. Bloody hell.
Big long bloke fighting another. Usually the opponents were about, they weren't as tall as me, believe me. I had the longest reach in Australia at one stage.
You would have.
and old Ray taught me how to use it.
Yeah. Geez, I fought Stephen Squiggins, a Queenslander. My last fight, he was 6'2". I was trying to reach him, mate. I needed a step ladder, so God, you were 6'4". Bloody hell.
And old Ray used to stay straight up and down the old straight back sort of thing.
Yeah.
Keep your height, my lad.
Yeah. Now, an orthodox tries to get round to their left to try and nail you with a right hand. Did you get nailed with many right hands at all, or you just kept them on the end of that right jab?
I kept them on the end, but
yeah.
Ray was he was the Ambrose Palmer style, you know, Johnny Famishon. Keep your left hand on your chin and jab out your right.
Yeah.
Till you see it go. So you know, a few got through. Don't worry about it. That's why I'm hippie now.
Is there any footage of you fighting?
Beg your pardon?
Is there any footage of you fighting, John?
Oh, there's a little bit there. I've got a little bit on tape.
Have you?
Yeah, well, it's not a good bit because it was Big McNamara.
Oh, yeah.
Was bashing me up.
Now, just to let you know, he passed away a few years ago, and his son Todd's a friend of mine. He's listening. He's tuning in right now, mate, as we speak.
I'm sorry to hear about that, but I heard that he'd gone to the heavens, and it's a shame when any boxer, especially when you have fought him and all that sort of thing, when that does happen in our very small array of people.
Yeah, now Todd was the one that sent me all them clippings yesterday, and I forwarded them on to you. He's quite proud of his father too, by the way.
Yeah, that's great, mate. That's what it's all about.
Sure is. So your first fight was in 1967. I was -1, and you took on a guy called Fred Lloyd at Festival Hall, Melbourne. Can you remember that one?
I certainly can.
Yeah?
I certainly can. I think it was either Lionel Rose or Johnny Famishon was the main event.
Yeah? Wow.
And I got picked. I was the first one on the card, and there was both the skinny legs and the baggy shorts.
Yeah.
Walking up them half a dozen stairs again in the ring, and I reckon there was about 1,000 people at the at the festival hall at the time, and I thought to myself, what am I doing here? This is not in the category of what's going on. Anyway, we boxed around, and it was a 1.5 minute rounds, and I got the nod. Well, I thought I was the world champ.
Yeah.
Jumped up and down, threw the hands in the air and all that sort of stuff. And you remember your first fight.
Yeah.
That was it. That was great. Yeah.
Wow, what a great card to be on, though, eh? Geez, you couldn't. Was that a TV ringside card, mate?
No, it was just to have the fights on the Friday night.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah, geez, and you were a welterweight, and you were 6'4". My goodness. Mate, I'd have ran out the ring if I'd seen you in the other corner.
Well, I looked across the other side of the ring a few times and said, what am I doing here? Don't worry about that.
In 1970 was the start of your 4th year in the game. You piled on 18.5 pounds and remained undefeated when taking on the national light heavyweight crown in your first 15-round bout. That was an amazing effort.
Yeah, Johnny Gorgham up here where I live now is near Albury. It's only about 40 minutes from Albury.
Yeah.
Johnny Gorgham was, I fought him twice. I fought him at the old Palais Picture Theatre at a 10 2-minute rounds.
Yeah.
About 3 months beforehand. And then they decided that it was the best fight they'd seen in Albury for 10 years or 15 years or whatever it was. And they said, we'll put it on. We'll put it on at the, where was it? The showgrounds up in Albury. And we fought again.
You fought again, yeah.
And it was another good fight. It come into about the 10th round and his eyes were gone. He had bad eyes, John.
Yeah.
He got, blood was coming out of him and sort of split the both of them. And the doctor rightfully stopped the fight. The referee did and the doctor. And then I got the decision. And that was it.
You won the Aussie light heavyweight title. That would have, mate. I had 4 cracks at an Aussie title, mate. At least you got one, buddy.
Yeah, it was good.
It would have been a great moment.
Through the years, it's helped me out a bit, through jobs and all that sort of thing.
I bet. Oh, that's
great.
So,
it's all good fun. The first time I fought Gorgon was the old Palais Picture Theatre. And old Ray had a HT hole. We'd come up from Melbourne up to Albury. The HT hole broke down. So we ended up getting there, and we got there late. As I'm walking through the door of the Palais, the blokes pulled me over and said, you got a ticket? I said, I'm fighting the main event. Well, he laughed at me. Because I'm still skinny, I'm 12, but I'm still skinny.
Yeah.
And I said, Anyway, we got in and we done the business. On the way out, the bloke said, well done, son. And I remember that like yesterday.
Do ya? Wow. Geez, that's a good story.
Yeah, that's good.
And where did you get in the officiating? Well and truly after your career was over, you were an official, weren't you, mate?
Yeah. I had a gym down in Melbourne. I had a big gym down in Melbourne, and sort of like I was all involved around boxing and the kids, and I thought, well, why not try and do a little bit of refereeing and judging and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so I got into that, and fortunately, it's got me overseas. I've been overseas with the late Jack Reddy, the famous Jack Reddy, Lionel Rose's trainer. Yeah. Went overseas with him, judging, and it's got me all around Australia sort of thing. So it's been good to me. It's been really good. Boxing's been really good to me.
Are you still? It does, mate. It does. It gives you a lot of trips away, doesn't it? I mean, I was fortunate enough to go away to a couple of conventions and that. I've met Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson through boxing. I've able to travel. I know what you're saying. So, do you still officiate, John, or have you hung up your cue?
I've always hung up the cue. When they're running short, they'll yell out.
Yeah, okay. You're one of them guys, eh? You'll just get up off your chair, put your hand. Good on you, mate.
Yeah, and I do a bit of amateur refereeing up there in New South Wales. Yeah. Because it's hard to get. It's very expensive for them to put a show on.
Yeah.
And if they've got to fly them up down from Sydney or up from Melbourne or something like that, it costs them a lot of money, the matchmakers. And the matchmaker up there is a really good bloke, so you just go and get the chop out, you know.
Yeah, who's the matchmaker, if you don't mind me asking?
Graham Melbourne.
Oh, Graham Melbourne, he's tuning in. Isn't he a good guy? Sorry, Graham, I knew you were a bloody matchmaker. Yeah, no, I bet Graham. He's tuning in, mate.
He's a great bloke, mate. He's a great bloke.
Mate, he's made a comment on Facebook. He's proud to call you a mate. I was going to say that later. There you go.
Oh, good on you, Graham. I am too, mate. And
Yeah.
next time you're in Graham's company, ask him to sing a song. He's not bad at it.
Can I'm going to, straight after the show, I'm going to ring him and ask him to sing a song. We might play it on here. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Better than Cruden's.
Yeah, I like that song. Now, after you won the National Crown, was there any talk of an Empire title shot at all, mate, at all, or you?
Not really. When I won the title, I think I was rated around about sixth in the Commonwealth.
Yeah? Wow.
And look, I'm not above myself and anything like that. I had
No, you don't
to get
sound...
there at that stage was pretty hard. Even to get the Australian title was hard. You know, you had Bobby Dunlop, which retired.
Oh, God.
You know, like I sparred Bobby tons of times, and look, he tore me to pieces. Not getting later to when we were sparring as I was getting older, he still tore me to pieces.
Yeah, right.
And you had Stretch Anderson, you know, I was sparring him, and like to get over them two blokes, well, Stretch retired. You know, he fought Giuseppe Bertuzzi.
Yeah.
Actually, I fought Tommy Edgar on the undercard of that.
Yeah.
And they told Stretch to give it away after that fight. It was just Stretch won the fight, but he didn't win the battle. You know what I mean? Like he got hurt that fight,
Yeah.
and he gave it away, and then that was vacant. Then the title was vacant. That's where Gorham and I got the opportunity to do it.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was good. And bloke by the name of Sam Presnell was the
Yeah.
promoter at the time.
Yep.
And I'll say it was a shifty. After the fight at the showgrounds, we got back to the pub to get paid, and old Sam said to Tommy Collins, I was training with Tommy Collins when I won the title because Ray gave it away,
Yeah.
and Tommy said to him, give us the money. I think it was $1,500, which wasn't bad
It's
money.
good money back then.
Yeah, and he said, "Oh mate, there was no one at the showgrounds. You couldn't get another person in they were packed to the rafters.
Yeah.
Couldn't get another person in there." So Tommy had a bit of a dash at him, and anyway, we got the money and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, mate, you retired prematurely the following year after you won that title. What influenced the gloves to be hung up so prematurely, mate? What happened there?
Well, I got married.
Oh God, that's always the way, isn't it?
Yeah, I got married, and the marriage, 3 rounds lasted longer than the marriage.
Yeah. Oh, you're funny.
And but you know, like, you get out of it. Well, it didn't help my career, so I had to work and all that sort of stuff. And but I got a beautiful daughter out of it.
Yeah,
That's the way it goes, you know.
Mate, would you agree with me? You're better off staying in the boxing ring. You'd be a lot safer than getting married. That's my opinion, anyway. Would you agree with me?
100%.
Oh God, I can hear.
I got Tommy lady sitting beside me going, a lady of 35 years going.
Oh God, I heard her coughing. My old trainer, I seen him years later. He said, "Mate, you should have stayed in the boxing ring, mate. You would have been a lot safer." I just walked away. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah, it's part of life, isn't it? You know,
It is, mate.
You know, boxing's part of life. You get knocked down, you pick yourself up and go on again.
Exactly.
You know,
That's
yeah, you know, like I've met Muhammad Ali twice. Very
Wow.
fortunate.
where, when, and where.
Well, down in Melbourne, Dick Pratt, he puts
Yeah.
on a turn for all his workers before Christmas,
Yeah.
and this big part. And I was involved with the code, what the Aboriginal League was, with the kids. I was training the Aboriginal kids.
Good on ya.
And they rang me up, a bloke by the name of Andy Welsh and John Doherty,
Yeah.
who's the magistrate in Melbourne. They rang up and they said, can you get a couple of Aboriginal kids to come and meet Muhammad Ali? And I said, get the couple of Aboriginal kids, don't worry about them, I'll be there. Anyway, we got the gang together, and I think we got about 40 Aboriginal kids, and the police got the buses for them to get there, and all that sort of stuff went on. And I got to shake the great man's hand, and
Wow.
Dick Pratt, he brought him out again about 6 months later. They had a function. They asked me to go along, And yeah, it was good. Yeah, mate.
What a buzz.
I've never had it before, but the aura that you get in is unbelievable.
Yeah, wow.
You know, it's unbelievable. And I got to meet we'll get back to that one.
We'll go back to that one. It'll come to you.
Yeah, it'll come to me. Reuben Carter.
Oh,
Reuben Carter.
Reuben Carter. I've seen that movie. Is that the guy that got locked up?
Locked up all those years.
Hurricane Carter. Oh, what a great movie. What a story. Poor bugger.
Yeah. What a great man.
Locked up. An innocent man locked up for what, 20 years, was it?
Oh, 20 odd years, yeah.
Oh, if you want to see a true story, guys, watch Hurricane Carter. That's what it's called, isn't it? Reuben Hurricane Carter.
Hurricane, that's what it's called.
Yeah, you met him as well.
Yeah, met him.
God.
Same thing with the Aboriginal League down in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Jack Rennie, the famous Jack Rennie, he rang me up and he said, "Can you get some Aboriginal kids over?" And Lionel was there, the whole bit, you know, like.
Yeah.
And there was Reuben Carter, and the bloke. What happened? This bouncer, look, he was bigger than Taslotto, this bloke.
Yeah.
He was huge. And he said, he's pointed his watch and he said, "Mr. Carter, we've got to go now." And he said, "You're working for me, we'll go when I tell you to." And he spoke to every kid in that room.
Yeah. Wow.
Personally.
Wow.
Great.
That's unbelievable. That was years later, wasn't it? After he got let out of jail, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, you could have put him in the ring for a main event because he was that fit.
Oh, watching that movie, mate, I felt so sorry for him.
Oh yeah.
Knowing he was innocent. I'm going to watch that again.
Yeah.
Now, with your training fighters, how long after your career did you start training fighters? Straight after?
No, not really. I've done a bit of touring. Went around Australia and I had no ties at the time.
Yeah.
So I travelled around Australia for a while and then
Good on you.
I got mate of mine, Robbie Hayes, Carly Hayes, he fought under.
Yeah.
He come and approached me one night and he said, "Well, what do I open a gym?" And so I said, "Oh, yeah. Anyway, we did. And it's still going now down in Melbourne."
Is that called the Northside Gym, which is a scout hall?
That's it.
It's okay. Because I just got a little story here. I just read the Northside Gym used to be a scout hall and it turned into a gym. There was a magistrate that trained there and used to send young offenders there too. There's also another story of you and Barry Michael cornered a young fighter named Simon Dale. The story was Simon only had one arm.
That's true.
He lost it through a mincer. Tell us a bit about that. Jeez.
Well, Simon, we were at the fights over down in Melbourne and seen this kid there. We were just talking to him. He's talking to me and I'm going, "Oh yeah." Anyway, he said, "Oh, do you mind if I come and train at your gym?" And so I looked at him and I said, "Yeah, mate, yeah, come along, you know." Anyway, he travelled down he lives up here in Albury. He travelled, and his family, the Dales, are very famous around here for boxing, like his uncle and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And anyway, he come over training, but he was travelling. I didn't know he was travelling from Albury to Melbourne just to train with me on the Sunday morning, and then travelling back.
How many hours is that, John?
That's about 3 hours there and 3 hours back.
Oh God, he was keen.
Keen as mustard.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I opened the gym here, he's knocked on the door about the second night we've opened it, and he said, "Oh, can I train?" I said, "Yeah, no worries." Anyway, "Can you get me a fight?" Well, they all knocked him back. All the associations and amateurs knocked him back.
Yeah.
Anyway, Graham gave him a go. Graham Melbourne, who we were talking about before.
Yeah, good on you, Graham. Yeah.
And he gave him a go there, mate. And the kid, I think he had 4 or 5 fights, and he won a lot of them.
Did he? God,
mate,
one arm.
I taught him how to switch it.
Yeah.
You know, put the foot in front.
Yeah.
And when he hit him with that right air, it was a good night, Irene. Don't worry about
really?
that.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah. Power, mate. Just had power. And moved. He could move.
God, that's an unheard of story. Jeez.
Yeah.
And you're... Sorry?
Go on.
No, you go, John.
Barry, when Barry came up here, we come up for a talk. He's come up here to a talk at the RSL or something. And I said to him, "Mate, you want to be in the corner with me for the amateur kids?" He said, "No worries." I said, "The kid's got one arm." Well, Barry's looked at me like I got 2 heads.
Yeah.
He said, "You didn't say you were kidding." He said something else, but I can't say it on the radio.
Yeah.
And anyway, when he seen him, and he said, "You're kidding." And anyway, when Simon's finished, Barry said, "Wish he had two hands, mate."
Yeah.
Wish he had two hands.
Is that what he said?
Bloody hell.
God.
Yeah, good stuff.
It is. It's a great story. Now, you also trained a guy called Vinny, the survey who fought Joe Bugner.
Yeah, Vinny's
Yeah.
a vice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's gone to the heavens.
Yeah.
Vinny come into me. He didn't want to fight. He'd had a few fights with other people and with other trainers, and he didn't want to fight because he lived around the corner. So he come in and he trained. He said, "You mind if I train?" "Yeah, mate, go for it." And I didn't say much to him, and just having a chat every night. And then one night he come in and he said, "Well, can I fight? You want to train me to fight?" I said, "Well, you don't come once a week, twice a week when you feel like it. You're pretty solid."
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, no worries." Anyway, he did. Then he fought. Yeah, we had one fight down in Port Melbourne, down the town hall down there, pro fight, and he fought terrible. So I said, "Well, now I know what I've got to do with you. I've got to rip 7 kilos off you and make it 95 kilos and bounce around like a ball. Really move on your feet." And after that, he won them all. He won them all by knockout, really.
Yeah, jeez.
And that's about 7 fights. And then we got a shot at James Grimer for the Australian title.
Yeah.
Well, Bet Brizzy, Cos Brizzy orchestrated that. They were the promoters, and we filled the collaborating club. And then it was James come out and he flogged Vinny something terrible in the first round. The second round come out and flogged him again.
Yeah.
And then the referee come over to me in the middle of the round, end of the second round. He said, "I'm going to stop the fight," because Vinny's eye was out like a balloon.
Yeah.
And I said, "Look, it's an Australian title fight. Give him the spool. Give him one more round. If you see him getting battered, stop it straight away." And he said, "All right." Anyway, I said to Vinny, "You get out there, mate. Left jab, right hand, left hook, right cross. Just do it. Stand your ground." Well, mate, he done it. Well, James hit the deck. The crowd went ballistic. Tables and chairs were flying in the air. Not in anger, just in excitement.
Yeah, wow.
Like to see on the movies.
Yeah.
And Vinny became the Australian title holder, and then
That's fantastic.
then we got the offer to fight Bugner, which I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
I said, "No, mate, look, we'll just plot around. We'll go to the islands. We'll fight a few Maori blokes and a few Solomon Island blokes, and just cruise around there. We'll eat our money, and and then we'll fight someone. We get the experience first before we fight Bugner.
Yeah.
I want to fight Bugner."
Yeah.
And I thought, well, you want to fight him that much? And he went the distance, 10 rounds with Bugner.
Wow.
Bugner was trying hard.
Yeah.
And, Barry told me the next day Bugner's ribs were black.
Yeah. Where
The
was
next day, because it's no good aim for his hair, because Vinny was a lot shorter.
Yeah.
So we went for the rib business,
Yeah.
Vinny could punch a bit. But unfortunately, the decision went the other way, which it should have. Just so.
Yeah. Jeez.
And,
Where was this fight held?
In Queensland,
Yeah.
up
Whereabouts?
on the hinterland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what year was that, if you can remember?
95.
Yeah. Jeez.
1995.
Good old Joe Bugner. He had a big head, eh? I'd be going for the body too.
Well, yeah,
Hope Joe's not listening.
You've been punched by the best of them.
Yeah. Oh,
You know?
yeah. Ali twice, Frazier twice. God.
Yeah. When you can survive them blokes, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sound like you
And,
had a lot of enjoyment training fighters, John.
Oh, it's a lot of enjoyment and a lot of pain too.
Yeah.
They let you down sometimes, but like I said, you get knocked down, you get up again.
Yeah, exactly.
And but you you mentioned Barry's name before. Barry and I are great mates, and
Yeah, Barry's
like
been on the
that.
show.
yeah, mate, he's just a good bloke.
He sure
He's
is.
come up here and stayed at my place, and
Yeah.
we get on like a house on fire, and he introduced me to different people, mate. It's just very good sport to be in.
It is, isn't it? I know what you're saying about Barry. I spoke to him a lot on the phone, Barry Michael, and I met him at the 2013 Hall of Fame in Melbourne, finally
Yep.
face to face, and we're having a few drinks. He invites me to a barbecue at his place the next day, so I'm at his place at Williamstown the next day having a barbecue. I'm sitting there at his barbecue with him, having a barbecue. I text my older brother, I said, mate, you won't believe it, I'm at Barry Michael's place having a barbecue. He said, no way. I said, yeah. It's just such a great bloke. We had a good laugh.
Well, you know, I put boxing down as a job when you're doing it. And it's just like going to work, you go to training, and then you fight, and that's the end of the job. And then when you're out of that, you're just a normal person.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and like there are some, and you know, and I know there are some that get above themselves, but really they don't go very far.
No, they don't, mate.
In the end.
There's always someone round the corner that's going to give you a belting, isn't there, mate?
Exactly right. My mum was only 5'1".
Yeah.
And she used to give me a belt any time she wanted.
I just want to read this last sentence out I got here. You close your Beechworth gym because rents were through the roof, and you refuse to charge the members more, raise the money, so you just to cover it. So you just you closed the gym, didn't you? Because your rent went up ridiculously high. You ended up closing the gym.
Yeah, but there's another story. At the end of that, we closed it. A certain bloke wanted too much rent for the place. Anyway, the more or less when I'm putting all the stuff on the back of a ute, this other bloke come from around the corner and said to me, I've got a shed for you.
Oh, wow.
And no rent.
Wow, that's fantastic.
You know, and look, the people up here are fantastic. They help me out through a lot of things, you know, money-wise, support-wise, the local newspapers, they give you good write-ups when you ring them up and you've got a boy fight. Without that community effort, you don't get anywhere, you know, like in a small town like this.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
And everyone sort of like knows everyone, and you know, I can't mention all the names because there's too many.
There's too many.
And it just goes to the credit of the town, really.
Yeah.
And
that's great, isn't it?
I got a mate of mine. He was driving me around everywhere. He would charge me for petrol and all that sort of stuff. And we're going from here to Benalla, which is 200 kilometres, and for training, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
And you got to. You know, it's hard on the boys up there. You got to travel to do any sparring. You got to go to Melbourne, so you leave here 6 o'clock on the Sunday morning, get down to Melbourne at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
You spar, then you jump in the car. You come home for 3 hours home. So you know it's
it's a hike, isn't it? God.
Yeah. But I had one kid up there. He was only a kid. He started training with me. He is in the amateurs. He was the Australian champion, Commonwealth, the Australian champion, Victorian champion, Riverina champion, turned pro and got the Victorian champion.
Wow.
In the middleweight. Callum Orchard was his name.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was just a kid from the bush.
Yeah, wow. What
you know, so anyone can do it. Anyone can do it.
They can, mate. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you, mate. Well, you're well respected, John, because there was that many. I know you're not a Facebook person, but just so many comments on there when I said you were coming on. Does a Joseph Hamilton ring a bell?
I know the name, I know the name.
Okay, I'll read out his comment, might jog your memory. Good day, John, it's Joe Hamilton. Haven't caught up for a few years because I've been all over the place. Live in Queensland now. Never forget the last we had at the fights in Melbourne, the old gym in Preston. You moved to Beechwood and opened the gym there. I went up and stayed with you there a few times before. I went on to move top, mate. Who calls me a few hangovers. That's from Joseph Hamilton. He put on Facebook.
I know Joe there.
You know him now. Yeah, that's funny. Mate, we'll just about wrap it up. But mate, before I go, what's some of the greatest memories of your boxing career?
Just the people you meet.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali, meeting Ali.
It has to be Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
But like I said, and anyone, you know, it's good to see the old fighters. Like now, I'm an old fighter, but when in the day when I used to go there was Frankie Flannery and all them old fighters that you read about. And unfortunately, most of them gone to heaven. But all that sort of stuff, you know, like no one's. Muhammad Ali has to be the best. So
yeah, right. Who was your toughest opponent? Your best opponent you fought?
I had two of them. Yeah. Johnny Gorkum.
Yeah.
And Johnny Gorkum.
Yeah. Okay. Rightio.
Yeah.
Seen as Greg McManara's son's listening. Todd, how tough was his dad when you fought him?
Mate, I went out there. They told me. They said to me, "You box this bloke. You don't let him near you because he'll knock your ribs apart."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh yeah." He said, "He won't go for your head. He'll go for your body." And guess what? He went for the body, and I was very sore the next day. And I lost. I was sore twice.
Yeah, really. Jeez.
No, I know, mate. Yeah. And look, he was tough and tough. You know, you can hit him. By that time, I was starting to learn how to punch a bit harder.
Yeah.
And every time I hit him, I thought, you got to be feeling this, son. You know, you got to. But guess what? I knocked him down twice.
Yeah.
And he got up and beat me, mate. That's how tough he was.
Oh God. Jeez, Tom. Hear that, mate? Jeez, that's unbelievable.
That's how tough he was. Don't worry about that.
Now, you had your last fight in 1971 against Eddie Wolf, Melbourne. All your fights were at Melbourne Festival. I fought there once too, mate. Eddie Wolf, were you happy with that? You won on points. You walked away from the sport happy. You could look back with a smile.
Oh, I think so. Yeah. Look, like, I'm talking to you now, Paul. You know, if I didn't do all that sort of stuff, I would have been talking to a good man.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
like that. Mate, you had a good career, mate. 22 bouts. How many did you win, mate?
Well, they've got it all wrong now. I had
That's what I meant to ask you.
Yeah, 30 fights.
30 fights.
27 wins, 2 draws, and Greg McNamara the loss.
Okay. 30 fights you had. Jeez.
Yeah.
We'll have to get that fixed up on box rec, eh?
They didn't put it, when we were fighting up in Sydney, there's not a lot of Sydney fights up there.
No, right.
I fought Johnny Plant twice up there. He fought under the Saint.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure the other names, but I looked on the record book and Johnny Plant wasn't there, you know.
Yeah, right.
And all that.
That's, yeah. Jeez, well, I wonder if you can get, I might have a chat to Justin Kennedy. He looks after box recs, probably too long ago now, but you never know, you could get that fixed up. So you had the 30 bouts and you won, how many did you win out of that 30?
27.
27, sorry, you said that. Geez, that's a great record, mate, back in the day.
Yeah. 2 draws and a loss.
You want to know?
McNamara beat me.
Yeah, you want to know my record, mate? Ask me my record, John.
What's your record?
I had 100 fights for 100 losses, mate. I was pretty good. I was consistent.
Consistency. That's what we need in life, consistency.
Hey, John, if you can think of anyone else back in your day, I mean, I've got a few names, I've got a list. Anyone I could interview like yourself, give us a yell. And I love interviewing you older fellas while the pandemic's on. I've had the Tim Zoos on, the Jeff Horns, Michael Zarafas. I've had them all on, but I'm just it's like a new segment, and it's great. It's great hearing your story, mate. It really is. I'm glad I got you now. Pierre, thank you, Pierre Karam. I know you're listening. If it wasn't for Pierre, if it wasn't for Pierre, we wouldn't have been having this interview, mate.
Yeah, that's right, mate. Yeah, and he's a good kid too. Oh, he's not a kid anymore. I'm talking about a kid. He's only a young bloke when I knew him.
He's all right if you take him the right way. 2 hands by the throat. No, I'm only joking, Pierre. Well, look, it's been fantastic talking to you, John.
Thanks, Paul.
Mate, thank you so much for the interview, mate.
Thanks for inviting me on your show, mate. It's excellent.
It was a pleasure, and I really hope to meet you one day, buddy.
Shall do.
See you later, John. Thank you very much.
See you later. Bye. Thanks for having me.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
What a great interview that was. What a good guy. Okay, as I said before, unfortunately, Robbie Peden couldn't come on today. We're going to do it next week. His son's gotten sick, and he's had to take him to the hospital. So we'll hold that interview for next week. But John McCubbin, Long John, what a great interview that was. Don't go away. We're going to come back with Matt Friswell and then Brendan Smith.